Alrighty, up next we have Danielle, and she's going to be telling us about foraging and communication in the European fire ant.
Great. The Vancouver metro area has a huge problem with fire ants. That's right, I said fire ants. Myrmica rubra, the European fire ant, is invasive across the lower mainland area. Ant nests are sometimes in extreme densities, having more than one nest within a square meter of each other. And the ants swarm and sting aggressively when disturbed. I have personal experience with this. It hurts a lot. They're rendering lawns, gardens, and parks basically useless, and they also cause ecological damage, wiping out native ants and completely altering community structures. And the worst thing about the fire ants is that we don't have a solution for them. The ants nest completely underground, so insecticidal sprays are not effective. Insecticidal food baits are available, but these ants don't seem to forage on them. Which brings me to my research goal, to create a better insecticidal food bait specific to the European fire ant. I plan to do this by combining attractive foods with attractive pheromones and a carefully chosen insecticide. For the food portion of my research, I had a huge list of things I could possibly test. I tried apples, kiwis, pumpkin, tofu, cat food, beans, and the list goes on. In the end, I found a specific combination of ingredients was the most attractive to the ants. My best food bait contains carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Turns out, the ants like a balanced diet. I tested this in the field against a commercially available ant bait and found I could attract twice as many ants with my bait. For the pheromone portion of my research, I focused on trail pheromones. In nature, when an ant finds a really good food source, she returns to her nest and leaves a chemical trail in the ground. Other ants use this trail to find their way to that food source, and I wanted to test whether you could apply a synthetic trail of the pheromone leading up to a food bait to attract more ants, basically giving the ants directions. I tested this in the lab against food baits that did not have that chemical trail, and I found that at the optimum dosage, you could get 3 times as many ants finding their way to that food bait if you had this pheromone trail. For the insecticide portion of my research, I'll be adding an insecticide into the food bait. The idea being that since ants forage socially, they will pick up that poison food, bring it back to the nest, and give it to everyone, including the queens. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to use an organic agent, possibly a fire ant-specific pathogen, so that the end result will be safer. I believe that by combining my delicious food bait with the trail pheromone and a bioinsecticide, I have a recipe for fire ant death. And I'm hopeful that at my graduation, I'll be able to definitively say that this is how you get ants. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you so much. We already have a question here.
Yep. I like parks and lawns. Where should I go to stay safe?
I actually have a map of where all the fire ants are, and I can't tell you because fire ants, we were given this information by the people who own personal property on the condition that we would not reveal it because it significantly lowers your property value if you have these fire ants by a lot. Yeah. Yes?
Are you planning to patent your research after it's over?
That's actually a very distinct possibility, yes. Yes?
So how come, like, provincial park governments and, like, RAID or other insect, like, is there a lot of research being done on fire ants? Is it such a huge problem?
These ones specifically, there's a couple labs doing research. I think I'm probably the most management-specific research project that's happening. There are several species of fire ants in the US. Towards the south, they have a totally different species of fire ant that's come up from South America, and that one has a lot of research on it too. Yes?
So is your food bait, your new food bait, potentially attractive to other insects?
Yeah, I'm hopeful that it might be. So the idea, you might be concerned about non-target effects. So the idea with a lot of these ant baits is you have it in an enclosed container with a small entrance hole. Thankfully, these ants are very small, so it would keep things like bees or larger insects out of it and other animals that we don't want to eat a poison. But we are also interested in testing the food bait on other pest species because we think it might be attractive to them also. They are an invasive species. They come from Europe. So generally, people feel like invasive species we should be getting rid of if we can. And they are wiping out the native ants here. So really, taking over someone else's niche, and also I think I think it would be better to get rid of them if we could. Overall, normally we have lots of different species of ants here in BC, and where these ants are, it's just them. So.
Alrighty, last question here.
Are there major environmental barriers around here, or have fire ants spread to other parts of BC as well?
They were recently found in the Okanagan area, so no, they're spreading. Yep. Yeah.
Alrighty, thank you so much.